So if you ask a question, if you were to pose some question to me just now, Swamiji, please tell me about so-and-so, and I start talking, what are you going to do? What are you doing right now? You notice how you're taking in? As a stance, as a mental stance, this is the stance of contemplation. If I say to you, please stare at that piece of paper, that's a stance of attention. It's a stance of focus. They're different. Now, said differently, half of the process of what we're doing is removing obstacles. Half of the process is affirming where we're going. One is about meditation, one is about contemplation. When a person swims, you take one hand and you do this, and then you push away. So you pull water to you, and then you push something away. You push away the obstacles, and you pull towards you what you're doing. In meditation, the way we just did this, you were aware of a level, and then you left it behind. Then you were aware of a level, and you left it behind. My hope is, I didn't want to say it at the time because I didn't want to goof you up inside. My hope is that when we came here into that space, that you forgot you were breathing. You see. You left it behind. You focus and you leave behind. You focus and you leave behind. Meditation and contemplation dance together beautifully. What is contemplation? Okay, I'm just going to dump these out. You don't know what they mean. Here's 7 principles. Brahma satyam jagan mitya ekam eva ditya brahma prajnanam brahman ayam ma brahma. My pronunciation is not so good, doctor, but forgive me. Tatvamasi aham brahmasmi sarvam kalvidam brahma. Wonderful. It starts Brahma satyam jagan mitya. In rough terms, it means there is one absolute reality. And that's reality. And everything else is only apparent reality. If I hold this cup up, you say it's a cup. What if I tell you it's plastic? Which is more true, that it's a cup or that it's plastic? You see, it's more true that it's plastic, because before they turned it into a cup, it was plastic. And if we put it through our blender and grind it up, it's still plastic, but it's no longer a cup. So it's only relatively a cup. Do you see what this can sound like an intellectual head trip? But this is a way of observing what is reality and what is truth. If you pose the question, who am I? And you say, why me? Okay. Am I my hand? Did you ever meet anybody who was in an accident or a birth defect and they didn't have a hand? Does this person still exist? Yes. Do you know one of the times I discovered this truth and I didn't have these words to go with it? I was in my mid-30s. I had a tooth pulled. It was a permanent molar. And suddenly I realized part of me is gone. My tongue is going over there. You know, and there's the simplicity of it that struck me is that's never growing back. It's gone. Part of me is gone. But the other part was nobody's gone. Can you feel how your mind sits with this that I'm saying right now? This is the arena of contemplation. It's the stance of contemplation. It is not sitting around intellectualizing. It's not what it is. I claimed the right. I claimed the right in religion. Christianity, one reference from Christians say there's 39,000 denominations. If they have 39,000 versions, I claim the right to have my version. And what Jesus said, his number 1 instruction was, just before number 2, love your neighbor as yourself, which I don't know how to do unless you can do number 1. It says, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Now for some people that means our guy is the only one and yours is wrong. Another view says, that which you call Lord and that which you call God is actually one absolute reality. The Lord, our God, the Lord is one. I claim that right. It is a non-dual reality. What you call God and what you call Lord, or any other name you want to give it, is in fact one. O-N-E, one in English. Then you say, how is that true? The process that you go through when you read that Bible or you read the Bhagavad Gita or you read the Quran or you read any of these, you read the Guru Granth Sahib, It's the process that you do in your mind to try to get it, to absorb in it, that is contemplation. If you do only contemplation without meditation, maybe you'll get there. Not so good. But maybe you'll get there. If you do only one without the other, you're missing something. If you do only meditation without contemplation, you're missing something. Sometimes you'll have a little glimpse of a direct experience, but you don't have a clue what happened. I can't tell you the number of times I've had a conversation with somebody that they tell me a story of something happened 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago, and they still don't know what happened. What we need to do is come to the part that says, let me explore it. That's a contemplative process. Then all of the other practices lead up to that. Let's say that I have worked with my body, I have worked with my breath, I have worked with my mind. I have trained my mind to be one-pointed in meditation. I have trained my mind in how to do contemplation. I have practiced cultivating bhakti, the love of the heart, for other human beings and the Lord within, or however we do that. I seldom talk about what I do in the arena of bhakti. It's not uncommon that somebody says, you're a jhani, you're a head trip, you're an analyzer. Happens all the time. Get emails. Which practice a person is really doing is the one that he never talks about, because it's too close in the heart. I'm not saying that as a universal comment. But for me, that's called Mahatripura Sundari. It is the one who lives in the three worlds. It is she. It is she who lives in this gross world. She who lives in that entire subtle astral plane that is the backbone behind it. And she who lives in that ground out of which it comes. She is the one in the three worlds. And that's where my heart sings. When I'm sitting there quietly alone and this mind is not jabbering words, as it is right now. When you have done the bit with the heart, listen to the way Bill was telling you about the awakening of his heart with his altar and all that. But if you have a heart and you don't use your mind, you're missing something. If you have a mind and you don't use your heart, you're missing something.